Hello everyone, welcome to Alan Digital. So in today's session, basically we are going to start with a very interesting topic in the subject mental ability. Now maybe the question comes in your mind that which particular topic we are going to start with. So let's end your queries. So the topic that we are going to start with in today's session is verbal analogy. That means our today's topic of discussion is verbal analogy. Now, maybe the question comes in your mind that what exactly the word analogy stands for. So, before we are going to proceed with the topic verbal analogy, let's understand that what is the exact meaning of this word analogy. So, as far as the word analogy is concerned, so analogy is a word which is basically derived from the Greek word analogia. And analogia, which means to maintain the relationship between or amongst the variables or amongst the elements after the comparison is done on the basis of few similar qualities. So I wish the meaning of the word analogy is now clear to all of you. So let's move ahead and we'll try to understand that what exactly the definition of the word analogy is. So now we are going to have one statement which is related to the definition of the word analogy. Let's read this statement out. Have a look. An analogy is a comparison between two words or ideas and finding a common similarity or relationship between them. That means from the definition of the word analogy, it is itself clear that whatever the questions you are going to get in your exam paper from the topic analogy, so you have to make sure that initially you have to make the comparison between or amongst the elements which are given to you in terms of question, and on the basis of few common properties or few common qualities, you have to make sure that which particular option out of the four given options will be the correct one. So I hope that the definition of analogy is now pretty much clear to all of you. So let's move ahead and we will try to understand that which particular type of questions we need to understand in the topic analogy and what are the types of analogy. So let's understand initially the types of analogy. See, so as far as the types of analogy is concerned, so you have to make sure that you should know that the analogy is basically comprises of two different types. The very first one is verbal analogy and the second one is non-verbal analogy. Now again, maybe the question comes in your mind that what is exactly the difference between these two? How we will get to know that the question is basically from verbal analogy or the question asked is basically from the non-verbal segment of the analogy. So let's clear this difference and we will understand in a very short moment that what will be the difference between these two. So whatever the questions you are going to get from the topic analogy, if you will find few keywords in your questions like words, alphabet or numbers, so all those questions will be the part of your verbal analogy. But all those questions which will basically comprises of images only, that means we can say that all those questions will be from the part of non-verbal analogy. So I wish that now the difference is pretty much clear to all of you that how we will observe that the question is basically from verbal part of analogy or the non-verbal part of analogy. So once we have completed this particular slide, so moving towards the next one, and in today's session, we'll be discussing about only few examples which are related to verbal part of analogy. So let's start the discussion over verbal analogy. So before we are going to solve few examples related to verbal analogy, let's discuss that which type of questions we need to understand under the topic verbal analogy. So let's have a look. So types of verbal analogy. See, as far as the types of verbal analogy is now concerned, so you have to make sure that there are basically three important types that needs to be discussed. The very first one is questions based on word analogy. The second one is alphabet analogy and the last one is questions based on number analogy. So basically these three are the important types that we need to discuss under the topic verbal analogy. And in today's session, in the topic verbal analogy, we are going to start with the very first type, that is word analogy. So let's discuss few important examples from the very first type of verbal analogy, that is word analogy. So here we go with the very first example on your screen. Have a look. Choose a word that shows the same relationship as given in the question. You can see this question on your screen right now. So if court is related to justice, so we have to find out that in the same manner, the word school will be related to what? This is your question. And for your help, you'll be having 4 different options as well. And out of these 4 options, only one will be the correct. So let's discuss the solution for this question. See, as you all know that court is related to justice. That means we can say that whenever any crime is done, so justice will be provided by the court only. That means if you want to get justice, you have to go through court. So in the same manner, we can say that you can get education from school. So I wish that the explanation for this question will be clear to all of you. So since the education is present in option number 4, so the correct answer will be option number 4 over here. So moving towards the next question, that is example number 2 on your screen. Have a look. Find the same relationship between the given terms and replace the question mark. This time the question that you have is food, which is related to hunger. You need to find out that sleep will be related to what? This is your question this time. So we'll be having 4 different options as well. Out of these 4, only one will be the correct one. So let's talk over the solution for this question also. See, as you can see on the screen that food is related to hunger. That means we can say that if you are feeling hungry and if you want to suppress your hunger, so obviously you have to take food. In the same manner, we can say that if you are feeling lethargic or if you are feeling weariness, so you need to take a good amount of quality of sleep. So since the word weariness is present in option number 4, so that is why the option number 4 will be the correct answer over here. Moving towards the next question, example number 3 on your screen. Have a look. Find the same relationship between the given terms and replace the question mark. This time the question on your screen is, if I is related to C, so ear will be related to what? This is your question this time. So for your help, again, you'll be having 4 different options. So let's talk over the solution for this question as well. Have a look. So as you can see that I is related to C. So you all are aware with the fact that if you want to see something, so for that purpose, you need your eyes. In the same manner, we can say that if you want to hear something, so for your hearing purpose, you need your ears as well. So since the word hear is present in option number 3, so that means we can say option number 3 will be the correct answer over here. So I wish that this question will also be clear to all of you. So moving towards the next question and example number 4 on your screen. Have a look. Choose the pair that has the same relationship as the original pair of words. As you can see the question on your screen that food is related to cook. And for your help, you'll be having 4 different options as well. And as you know that out of these 4 options, you have to figure out the one option which is actually having the similarity or the same qualities that the question words are having right now. So let's talk over the solution for this question as well. See, since food is related to cook, so what is the logic over here? As you all know that food is prepared by the cook. So in the same manner, we can say that the jewelry is made up by the goldsmith. Now, who is goldsmith? So goldsmith is the person who actually deals with ornaments of gold, or you can say ornaments or jewelry. So I hope that the solution for this question is also clear to all of you. So since jewelry which is related to goldsmith is present in option number 1, so that's why we can say that the option number 1 will be the correct answer. So I hope that all the questions that we have discussed in today's session will be clear to all of you in a very appropriate manner. So thank you very much for having me in this session.